Hello, viewers. This is Dr. Kamar Chima with another episode of NHS Media. Today's conversation is about the French President Emmanuel Macron's important visit in India, which is about on the Republic Day of India, the 75th Republic Day of India. And the most important thing is that when President Macron is landing, he's landing in Jaipur on 25th of January. And what the Indians are doing and how Indians are trying to project India to France, Europe, and the international community is that they are showing the soft power of India. So they are taking him to the Jaipur, they are taking him to the Jantar Mantar to show the historical sites and to present India's soft power at the global stage. Why is it necessary that a French president who has been requested and who has been invited on the request of the Prime Minister Modi to visit the 75th Republic Day of India is being taken to these historical sites. Earlier, you remember this invitation was given to the U.S. President Joe Biden, but because of some issues, particularly when the Americans thought that India is trying to meddle into the internal affairs and breaching the security in U.S., the American president didn't turn up, and so many considered this as a setback. But in reality, the strategic partnership of U.S. and India is very strong. But anyhow, the French president is coming tomorrow, and he's starting his trip just from historical sites. So they're showing him culture, they're showing him values, what Dr. Jaishankar mentions normally to the global audience, that India is a civilizational state. So they believe that that's what we need to tell, that's what we need to show, because when a foreign dignitary goes to these historical sites, in technically those sites automatically get global. So this particularly these Amar Fort and this Jantar Mantar and all these places where they are going, that tells the story that they want that these sites to have a global audience, and people shall know that these cultural sites are there. So definitely it will get the global attraction after the Prime Minister and the President will visit these sites. But the important thing regarding France and India, and I will also talk about that how Pakistan has been sidelined, how Pakistan is will be not getting what Pakistan shall get from its relation with the Europe and France. But as I mentioned earlier, starting from the this soft power, showing the soft power to the French president, the areas where the partnership will be highlighted or the agreements will be on 3 4 issues, particularly the partnership regarding security and sovereignty, partnership regarding planet, and partnership regarding the people of both the countries. As I mentioned, that Emmanuel Macron is coming on the Republic Day, but there will be some agreements, and France and India, over the period of time, they have developed that trust and cooperation and strengthened that autonomy. This is what the French authorities are saying, that France and India has developed autonomy. It means the way India is not under the Western pressure, in a same fashion, France is not under the American pressure. So that's a very important thing, that the question of security and sovereignty. It also means that India is getting the autonomy, and India is building its defense equipment, and India is having that autonomy. But at the same time, the word strategic autonomy means that India is not under the pressure of the global powers and the great powers in terms of any kind of a pressure. So both countries are going to invest more in defense sector. They are more going to invest in technologies. Both the countries, they are going to invest for the international peace and security. Remember, this term peace and security means that in Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean, French have overseas territories, and when they are saying that India and France are going to contribute into the international peace and security, in reality, they are talking that we are going to talk and we are going to engage in Indo-Pacific. That's the most important thing because Americans have their own Indo-Pacific doctrine, the French have their own Indo-Pacific doctrine, many other countries have their own Indo-Pacific doctrine, and India is the only power which is engaging with each one of them. So this cooperation on security and sovereignty, they believe that it expands over 60 years. So India, in terms of getting all these technological support from France, will get a lot of equipment. The cooperation will be in terms of climate monitoring satellites, in terms of maritime surveillance. I think these are the things which Indians will get from France. Um, and also, that's the important thing. When you have sufficient economic relations, you have sufficient security relations, you come forward and you tell that, look, we have to think for the planet. So that is why the Indian and France in this visit, they are saying that our partnership is for the planet. It means that for the common initiatives that should be taken for the climate change, for the biodiversity loss, for the poverty eradication, and for the new technologies. So India has been, for example, saying that we are going to be the carbon-free country. We will stop. We will be the carbon-free country by 2070. So we will invest more in renewable energy. We will invest more in these areas. So I think they believe that they should get support from French science innovations and all these things. So the new technologies and the emerging technologies, and then this historical word or line that often the Indian sides basically say that we have to. I can't pronounce it, but they say that Vasudeva Kutumbakam, which means that how this there should be a spirit, and then we have to move on. And particularly in G20, India's presidency, they did say that we got some successful results. And then there was Paris Pact, and then some others. And India has also developed that International Solar Alliance. So in the shape of having that partnership for the planet. So they're working on climate change, biodiversity loss, and poverty eradication, and then cooperation in the emerging technology. Then the most important thing where the President Macron and Prime Minister Modi are going to invest more is and work more is that Indian students shall go get more opportunities in France. That is going to be the game changer because India has a sufficient lot where people, there's a big middle class, they have money, they have resources, they can spend there, and then they are contributing in Europe. So why not in France? So artists, investors, tourists, and each section, I think they are opening up France for India. Um, uh, what is the most important thing is that by 2030, France is going to get some 30,000 Indian students at a time when the Canadians have putting a cap. Just 2 days, 3 days ago, I was reading that the Canadian minister was saying that we are putting a cap on the foreign students for 2 years. So I think in this kind of a situation, all that Indian talent will move towards France and other parts of the Europe or America and other places. So the French also need, because we have seen that over the period of time, the population challenge is there in many Western countries. That's where the one thing they are going to collaborate. Much of the things have not come forward. Maybe after the Prime Minister Modi and President Macron meet, they may go for signing any, or there may be a news which we can hear that the India does need some military hardware, and for that matter, uh, they can ask for that. But I think on the other hand, the important thing is that French soldiers, French Rafale, they are going to be on 26 January parade, which is on the Republic Day. It is just the same when Prime Minister Modi was in Paris on Bastille Day last year. The Indian contingent was there. Now this is the French contingent which is here. And on the Republic Day, so I think that's a bigger strategic partnership. If you just look at that, how Pakistan and France relations are there, I personally believe that Pakistan relation with France have deteriorated very badly because on one hand Pakistan is having a GSP plus status thanks to Europe for this GSP plus status, but in reality that is not good for the Pakistani businessmen because the Pakistani businessmen, they are going to they will not be, they won't be that smart enough, they won't remain smart enough in terms of being self-sufficient. So they don't have, they have to compete with the Bangladeshi, with the Indian and other businessmen in Europe and America. So that kind of support that will come from Europe, that is good for short term, but for long term I think the Pakistani businessmen needs to get up and they need to compete with the other regional players in Europe and in Europe particularly. So thanks to France for helping Pakistan in that. But on the other hand, the French have not been happy because in Pakistan there was a right-wing militant organization, Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan, which has been pressurizing Pakistani forces, Pakistani government to expel the French president because some cartoons were published in Paris. So the French were not happy at all that how France has been singled out. France is being castigated, and it is the right wing elements in the country. They are targeting France directly, and the government in Pakistan, they are not paying attention the way they should pay attention. So that is where the French authorities, what I have learned over the period of time, they are not happy. But I remember when the floods were in Pakistan, the French President Emmanuel Macron gave about $125 million in terms of support. That was what Pakistani government was asking globally to all the global players, that we need this money. So in that way, the French authorities have always come forward in terms of helping Pakistan, but unfortunately, neither we can build that relationship with France equal to that of India, nor we have given that comfort to the French in terms of their presence in Pakistan. So that is why the relationship between Pakistan and France is always at the foreign secretary level. It has not gone even at the foreign minister level, and it should have been at the foreign minister level, because that's how the high level conversations talk. We had that Air Force. The Pakistani Air Force had a cooperation with the French. We have the French fighters in Pakistan, but unfortunately, the level of the trust is not that much that Pakistan can buy more military hardware from France. One, we don't have money. Secondly, the Indian presence in France is so much, and this is not just a new presence that starts from back in the Yorkshire era, back in 1998, when the French president, at that time, India and France had this bilateral strategic cooperation, and now it's been more than 25 years both countries have that. So how Pakistan can create a space, one. Second, how Pakistan can give comfort to French authorities in terms of sidelining the right wing elements who have been who have been who have been pressurizing the French, and who have been even pressurizing the state. I think these have been some embarrassing moments for the Pakistani state, nationally and internationally, when the right-wing militant organization was asking for expelling French ambassador, whereas in New Delhi, the French president just comes as considering him as a second home, as he was invited on a very short notice, and he is coming. So I think Pakistan needs to develop more robust cooperation with the French, and at the same time, Pakistan needs to get out of this comfort zone where our businessmen shall compete with the other regional businessmen when they go in Europe. And the third most important thing is, let's see what kind of agreements are done between India and France on 25th and 26th, or whether there are some agreements, or it's just sort of a visit that was on the request of Prime Minister Modi. Thank you very much.